Hi guys, welcome to the Cozy Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make this star pillow. You will need about a skein of yarn. You will also need scissors, polyfill, and a stitch marker. So to get started, we are going to make a slip knot. I'm going to assume that most of you know how to make a slip knot because this is an intermediate pattern. But if you're a beginner here trying to expand your knowledge of chunky knitting, to make a slip knot, you're going to make a loop with the tail on top. You're going to take the working yarn, put it up and through, and pull down while holding on to that working yarn to create a slip knot. So for this pillow, I'm going to make my loops pretty small, about 1 finger width. We're going to chain 5. Now I don't count this loop as my chain, but if you do, then you would want to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to make our loop into a circle. And for row 1, we're going to pull up 5 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to tuck this tail inside that hole just to get it out of the way. For row 2, we are going to knit 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am going to place my stitch marker on that first loop. For row 3, we are going to knit 1 and increase, and we're going to do that 5 times. So knit 1, put my stitch marker back on, increase, that's 1. Knit 1, increase, that's 2. Knit 1, increase, 3. Knit 1, increase, 4. Knit 1, increase, that's 5. So at the end of that row, we should have a total of 10 loops. For row 4, we're going to knit 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for row 5, we're going to knit 2 and then increase. And we're going to do that 5 times. So knit 2, so knit, put my stitch marker back on, knit again, that's knit 2, and then increase. Knit 2, increase, that's number 2, knit 2, increase, that's number 3, knit 2, increase, number 4, knit 2, increase, that is number 5. So at the end of that row, we should have a total of 15 loops. Row 6, we are just going to knit 15. For row 7, we are going to knit 3 and then increase. So 1, 2, 3, increase. 1, 2, 3, increase. 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. So at the end of that row, you should have 20 loops. For row 8, we're just going to knit 20. This is the body of the star. We're now going to work on the points of the star. So we're going to work in 4 loop increments. So this is 20 loops. So if we work in 4 loop increments, we should have 5 points. So we're going to knit 4 in the first 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 10, we're going to knit 4. So we're going to, again, working with just these first 4 loops we just knit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 11, we're going to knit 4 again. 2, 3, 4. Row 12, knit 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 13, we're going to decrease. We're going to decrease left over right and knit 2. So we should have 3 loops left. For row 14, we are going to decrease right over left and knit 1. So we should have 2 loops left. Then we are going to decrease one last time, left over right, and pull up our final loop. I'm going to take my scissors and cut my tail, just a few inches. Put the tail through that loop and pull nice and tight so it creates a knot. I'm then going to turn my star and find the next 4 loops and repeat rows 9 through 15 again. So I'm going to pull up 4 loops. Don't worry about this tail because we're going to attach it later. Pull up 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rows 10 through 12, I'm going to knit 4. So I'm going to knit 12 loops total right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to row 13, decrease, knit 2, so I have 3 loops. And row 14, decrease right over left, knit 1, so I have 2 loops, and then row 15, decrease, left over right, so I have 1 loop left. Again, cut my yarn, put through the loop, and pull nice and tight so it ties off. We're going to repeat rows 9 through 15 3 more times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 one time, 1, 2, 3, 4 twice, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So at the end, you should have a total of 5 points on your star. But I'm going to fast forward through that point. So if you need to pause at any point or rewind, go ahead and do that. now completed one side of the star, so we're gonna repeat rows 1 through 15 again to make the other side of the star. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and fast forward and meet you when they're both complete. Hi guys, welcome back. So at this point you should have 2 stars. So we are going to put them together. So we're going to put the pearl sides facing each other. And with all of those ends that you had, we're gonna match them up and we're going to tie them together. So at one of my points, I have 2 tails. I'm going to double knot them. I'm gonna do that all the way around. It's also up to you before you do all the tails if you want to do the middle piece too. You can tie those 2 together just to add a little bit extra security. So now that I've tied all my 5 points together, I'm going to also tie where I added the 4 loops in. You should have 2 tails that are across from each other. I'm going to double knot those as well. So you should have one side that only has 1 tail. And that is because we didn't pull up any loops on the first 4. It was just attached to our body. So we should only have 1 tail on one of the sides. And that is where I'm going to start off finishing my star. To pull up a loop in the middle of these 2 points, so right here, through both layers of the star. So I'm gonna grab the first and the second at the same spot, and I'm going to pull up a loop. And I'm going to do the same thing across here. So in the very next space, again, through the first and through the second, I'm going to pull up another loop, and then I'm going to close off. So first loop goes over the second loop. Then I'm going to find another space to pull up a loop. First loop over second loop. I'm going to continue that. I'm going to continue that process. Now if you have those tails that we tied together, we're gonna work around them so that they stay on the inside of the star. I am going to do the point of the star as well. It might be tough to get into because we tied those loops. We'll give it a nice even edge. So we did one side, and we're gonna continue down through the back side of that point and then continue around. Again, making sure that you grab through both layers so it will be all closed off and no polyfill will slip out. I'm going to fast forward through this part. So feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, or take a break. and I'll meet you when we are about 3/4 finished closing off our star. Okay, so once you get all the way around the star, except for the last half of the last star, this is the point where you want to stuff with polyfill. You want to make sure you get all in the corners of the points so they're nice and raised. And again, if you would like to tie those two tails in the center together, you certainly can. So go ahead and stuff with polyfill, and then once you stuff with polyfill, you're going to finish off this last section. Once you've completed that last section, you can cut your working yarn, leaving a small tail, put it through that last loop, and then this is where you can utilize that tail in the beginning where we first started. We can go ahead and tie those two together like so, double knot, and then we're going to tuck them into the star. This is your completed version of the star. Should be double-sided. You shouldn't see any holes because we closed it off nice and tight along all sides. But if you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to send me an email. And also don't forget to tag on any social media posts, the Cozy Co by Jill. Thank you so much.